Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the Apos Audio Caspian, and these are my honest audiophile impressions. I want to thank Apos Audio for providing the Caspian for a review. I do greatly appreciate it. Apos Audio, you rock. Alright, so the Caspian. This is a collaboration between Kennerton, Apos, and Sound News. Yes, this was tuned by Sandu over at Sound News. And I really didn't know what to expect when I first heard about the Caspian. And then when Apos offered it for a review, I was like, I would love to hear this. And I look forward to it. So the Caspian uses 50mm dynamic drivers from Kennerton. They have a frequency response of 5 Hz to 45 kilohertz. They have an impedance of 32 ohms, sensitivity of 115 decibels, and they weigh 378 grams or 13.3 ounces. And these things are actually really light, especially considering that they have oak cups. And I truly do enjoy the Caspian's look. In my opinion, they're just beautiful. They have the dark stain, which you don't see too often. It is real wood. You can feel the aging. I really do like it. You have metal grills with the Apos signature. You have stainless steel headband, real leather headband, very nice padding. You have sheepskin pads on the inside. Overall, I really enjoy this. What else do you get in the box? You get a stock cable, which has this interesting leather loop, terminates into a 1/4 inch, and then it has those mini XLRs from Audiphile connectors. Decent split. This thing is not bad. Made of fabric. It's heavy though, and it also is somewhat stiff. I'm not a huge fan of this cable, but I don't hate it. There are worse cables out and about, but this one, it's doable. All right, the people at Apos were kind enough to send over one of their flow cables for me to test out with the Caspian. This cable is a lot nicer. I highly recommend that you do the upgrade. If you are thinking about getting the Caspian, this cable is fantastic. Nice and just loose. Doesn't have that tightness and stiffness that the stock cable has. It's definitely a lot lighter. The version that they sent over is 4.4 balanced, and it has a couple different lengths. I think you can get 6 foot, 10 foot, and whatever type of connectors that you want if you want to get a flow cable for another headphone. You also get this really nice carrying bag. This is very similar to the carrying bag that came with the Gallahorn that I reviewed a few weeks ago. You got this big, huge area to store your headphones in, and then a couple of little mesh pockets to hold things. I do enjoy that carrying bag a lot. And getting back to the headphones, there's been complaints and just comments that say that this was made of plywood or that it was very cheaply made and looked like some very cheap headphones and feels like that. I totally disagree. This thing is solidly built, looks very nice. If you want to compare it to a couple of headphones that are very cheap feeling, you can compare it to the Poseidon, which is not near as nice looking as the Caspian in my opinion, and not as near as comfortable either. I mean, it's not a bad headphone. It's not badly built. It just looks cheap in my opinion. Or you can even go with the AAA H1s, which have cheese graters on the sides, wobble all over the place. It's not a very well built headphone, and this thing feels cheap. And in my opinion, the Caspian does not feel that way whatsoever. The wood feels very nice, has that aging on it, as I said, looks very nice. Has forward facing connectors, and when you put them on your head, they just kind of disappear. As I said, they weigh 378 grams. They're extremely light and very comfortable with those sheepskin pads, and I have no problems with comfort. I didn't get any hot spots on the head, and clamp force was a little bit much right at the beginning, but has softened up over time. I really do enjoy the build, the look, and the feel of the Caspian. I think that this is well worth the asking price. I do wish though that Apos would have included the flow cable instead of that stock cable at the price. having to pay the extra cost for the flow cable is kind of just wish that they had included the flow cable instead of that stock cable. All right, on to the sound. The Caspian is a fun sounding, non-fatiguing for marathon sessions, according to Apos and Kennerton, and I would agree with that. This is a very fun sounding, non-fatiguing, very much marathon listening headphone, and I quite like it. The Caspian has a very big, powerful bass, and it is well controlled, very detailed, and good resolving. This headphone can do some bass, and it does it well. It is not boomy, it is not bloated, it's none of that. It is very well controlled and extremely detailed. I really do like the bass on it. It has a fun factor punch and a slam, and just has body weight and note weight to it, has density to it. Everything about it is just powerful. There's a lot to the bass, but it never overpowers the mix. It stays controlled and where it should be, but when it's going, you hear it and you feel it. And I really like the bass on the Caspian. Then on to the mids. The mids have a very organic and lush sound to them, have good warmth to them, and they have very good body weight, note density. I really like the bigness of the mids. Everything just feels lifelike, very natural tonality to it, very good timbre on it, and it also has a very good depth and layering to it, and things are very well done within the mids. I do wish that it had just a little bit more air to it, just a little bit more separation around the instruments and vocalists. But other than that, it's a very nice sounding mids that just are very engaging and it just make me want to sing along. And then into the treble. The treble is well controlled. There is a slight peak in the upper mids and lower treble region, and it gives a nice energy and sparkle to it, but it never goes into fatigue mode. It is not sharp, it is not sibilant. It's very well controlled, but it does have a little bit of energy. And then it extends out into the treble, very well controlled, and it has a nice airiness to the sound without ever going into harsh mode, without going into being too hot. Everything is just well controlled on this headphone. Everything is smooth and just yeah, I really enjoy the Caspian. Going into the soundstage is not the largest. It's not small and intimate, but it's getting close to being intimate. But where it really excels is in depth and layering. This thing is incredible with the depth and layering and the imaging. Everything just flows on the stage. It moves from side to side, and it has very good depth. You can really place things on the stage. You can determine exactly where things are. It's very pinpoint and precise. I really enjoyed the Caspian soundstage, even though I do wish that it had just a little bit more width, but I'm being picky there. This thing has a very good way of presenting a natural stage. It uses my imagination to say, okay, this is a small intimate stage, and it does that. It shrinks it down in, puts me cozy into the stage. Or if it's a little bit bigger of a stage, it'll expand a little bit, but sometimes it will still sound a little bit limited in its spaciousness, especially if it's a really large sounding stage. But overall, I really do enjoy the Caspian a whole lot, and I find it to be a very engaging and fun sound. I find it to be very pleasing with tonality. Tone and timbre on this is excellent throughout the mids, treble, and the bass. There's nothing that sounds unrealistic. Everything sounds lifelike. And then also details and resolution is very good throughout. You don't get a lot of smearing or jumbling up or anything of that sort. It's very well controlled and does a very good job with resolution of the details. How does it compare to other headphones? Comparing it to the HiFiMan Sundara, the Sundara is more technical. The Sundara is also more bright, and the Sundara is a little bit more intense in its presentation of the details and resolution. It does a little bit more piercing a sound, and it's not quite as pleasant. The Caspian is more pleasing in tone and timbre, is more accurate, and I just find that the Caspian has a more fun factor, especially in the bass, with that punch and slam that the Caspian provides. Comparing it to the Sennheiser HD 660S. Now the 660S really took me by surprise. When I first put the Caspian on, I said, these remind me of a headphone. I can't quite place it, but I've heard something similar. Now it's not as big and bodied as the Caspian is, but this has a tonality to it that's very similar. And as I started listening to other headphones and I was starting to compare, the 660S stood out to the Caspian. It is the lighter, more technical of the Caspian. So if you have the 660S, you have a little bit wider of a soundstage versus the Caspian. The Caspian's a little bit more small in the soundstage. And then also you have that tonality of Sennheiser, and you have those mids that are just very organic. But the 660S is a little bit lighter and leaner, doesn't quite have the note weight and body that the Caspian has. And the 660S has about the same amount of detail retrieval and resolution, and also does the same with depth and layering and imaging. And the Caspian just does everything at the 660S, just bigger and bolder and more body weight and density. And I find that the 660S and the Caspian complement each other very well. Caspian is the more chilled back, relax, fun signature, but you're still getting details, and you can still do a little bit of critical listening. And then the 660S is more the workhorse, and it has a little bit more of the technical side of things. Does have a little bit harder of treble on the 660S than the Caspian. Overall, I really enjoy the Caspian. I find that it is a very pleasing headphone. I highly recommend it. This thing is a joy to have, and I really don't want to return it to Apos. I'm going to miss it when it has to go back. So if you are considering getting a Caspian and you're a little bit on the fence due to, you know, some of the comments about the build quality and some of the other aspects of it, I totally disagree with those. I think that the Caspian is very well built, very well worth the price. I do wish that, again, Apos had included the flow cable instead of that stock cable for the same price. And also that this thing is crazy good. It sounds amazing, and I truly love it. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Hey, don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video, and also don't forget to hit the subscription button and notification bells if you haven't done that already. That way you'll know when the next video from the Honest Audiophile is available. Check out the links down below for an affiliate link to Apos Audio where you can purchase the Caspian, and also for other information regarding tier lists and rankings and recommended music and recommended gear and all kinds of other good things. Check out the links down below. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to enjoy the music, and honesty is the best policy.